Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to do another response video. This one's for Big Dog Web. Thanks for your comment, for your support. You're always in the chat there, Big Dog. He's talking about land and like, should we buy cheap plots now, consecutive plots? And his response is, I'm buying plots at a discount and not worried about transport costs at this time. I figure I can resell or trade for groups of land later. And I love this thought. So I'm going to spend some time talking about this because I think I'm trying to wrestle with what my own plan is here. Like I'm trying to figure things out. I listed a rare plot that I thought was a reasonable price because I actually think you guys are kind of sleeping on common plots. I kind of think $60 a common plot with a building in a box or with a temporary totem is a great deal. And shout out to Jarvie because he recently did a video on his channel talking about this. Yes, the Jarvie, he did a video on his channel talking about how, you know, the building in a box or the totem, they're worth essentially $10 each. So when you see a plot of land at $60 for common or 65 with a common, but it has each of the boxes, recognize that that's a better deal. And so I like that thinking. And then that got me reading comments and I go, I like what Big Dog's saying. If you remember what land can be, like looking forward to where it's aiming, and then if you also understand the SPS that we're now getting for surveyed plots, I think you have to recognize that there's a lot of security in holding these inexpensive plots, even if they ultimately go lower. One of the things I like to do when I'm investing is I look at the long-term opportunity and the short-term opportunity, not just one in isolation. It's great if you can find a short-term flip, and that can be a great profit maker. It's great if you can find a long-term multiplier, and that's awesome too. But what if you can find an opportunity that might present a short-term flip and simultaneously holds great long-term prospects? And I feel like that's land. So I just feel safe in buying it, $50, $60, $70 a plot for commons, even if it might go to 35, which some of my friends are predicting. I just can't see it, to be honest, because of all the background and what's happening with, once cards are staking into it and items and spells are coming, shortly thereafter, and Praetoria's Secret and the excitement that'll be probably brought in around that. And I think extra players will start coming in as cards start spiking. So there's a whole lot of facts that I think mean land plots probably don't go much cheaper than they already are. But even if they do, even if I concede that I'm wrong and they're gonna go lower, first of all, you never know how much lower. You think you can call the bottom and you can't. Trying to call the bottom is a recipe for missing the train, missing the launch mission. The train leaves the station while you're still waiting for the bottom. That's what happens with people. When Bitcoin was at 16,000, people were calling for 12, and now here we are at 30,000 US dollars. So you miss your opportunities when you think you're smarter than the system. The market out surprises everybody. This is the thing. This is why most people don't end up rich. They end up broke. And so I think long-term plays and recognizing, what you're holding, even if at $60 it's not the lowest price available, what about the opportunity both short and long? So long, I think you buy at 60, you're going to be laughing one day. That's my view, based on confidence of what Splinterlands is, how great this development team has been at honoring and aiming at and landing where they're aiming. And then just the joy that I get out of this thing and me believing that more and more people are going to recognize that in the future. So I feel as though it's a strong probability this game lands where it's aiming. And therefore, I have a very confident position in holding these assets, including land, long term. But then short term, as of today, we're getting SPS for surveyed plots of land, 2 point something per day. I think it's 2.3 SPS per plot per land. That doesn't matter if it's common, rare, epic, or legendary. And so when I buy a $60 plot of common land that comes with a building in a box and maybe a totem also, which I did the other day for 65 bucks, I think, US. That's my asset, and it's now producing SPS. You might say, well, Dwayne, you're getting 2 SPS a day. Great. That's 600, 700 SPS a year. Big whoop. You could buy 100 of them is going to cost you $3. So I could just buy the SPS. You might argue, okay, true, but look, when I buy this plot of land, I'm looking 2, 3, 4 years in the future. And out of that picture of confidence, I know, I feel super confident this plot of land is going to appreciate. So I've got the long term in my back pocket, and from the short term perspective, I've got this SPS carrot in front of me that I'm glad to receive. And I don't think, this is important too, I don't think of each SPS as 3 cents. Because I have that long-term vision, I think of them as 50 cents or $1. And so, yes, I could go out and buy the SPS, but then I wouldn't have the plot of land. And I think ultimately, if I end up missing, let's say, if I'm wrong and land goes down to $30, have I lost $30? I don't think so, because I've maybe lost $30 worth of opportunity, but recognize that I think land is, even common plots are one day going to be worth hundreds of dollars. And so packing my bag with $60 plots now, even if they go lower, isn't a loss. It's a dollar cost averaging into the biggest position that I can handle, because I want more and more of these assets. I'm not going to stop if it goes to $30. I'm going to get more. And so you might say, well, okay, sure, but if you just wait till $30, you're going to get double than you are at 60. You don't know it's going to $30. That's the first and so important point. But then also, here's what I find about investing. This is my second point on this, and maybe my last point here. People think, once it goes lower, I'll invest. I have so many friends that say these kinds of things, and then what happens is it goes lower and they have no appetite for risk, because you don't have appetite for risk at $60. So why do you think you're going to have suddenly the strength and let's say the confidence to move in when it reaches 30? You're going to tell yourself a different story at $30 per plot of land about how it's going to go to 15. And you will continually do that until one day, suddenly, because it won't happen, it's going to take, people say it takes the escalator down and the elevator up, meaning it's like this slow progression, this slow bleed out as we lose value in markets like this, and then it's this very quick up, this hockey stick. And so my point to you is, if that's you, if you're saying I want to sit on the sidelines because I think that there's going to be opportunity in the future, I like Big Dog's approach where he's saying I'm willing to accumulate these now. I think ultimately I can resell them in the later for, even if my plots are discontinuous, I can sell some that I end up over the next 12 weeks accumulating several that end up being continuous and without even originally intending to. And then if I don't, maybe 3 or 4 of them are, and I can sell the others, or maybe 1 or 2 of those ends up being particularly expensive for one reason or another, and I can sell those and buy continuity if I want. Plus, the shipping costs aren't going to be the end of the world. It's still going to be functional. I think if you're owning 1 or 2 or 3 plots of land, you're probably going to be enjoying land in a way that most people won't. Because I think I know there's not enough plots of land for everyone. Some people have thousands. It's not enough. And so I think ultimately Big Dog's approach, just this I'm going to be buyer. I'm a buyer now, and I will be a buyer later. And I think for all the reasons I outlined, if you're not a buyer now, you're probably not going to be a buyer later, even if that's been the story you're telling yourself. If you're saying to yourself, I'm going to wait for $30, I'm telling you now, you won't be a buyer then, because you're going to be scared even then. That's always the way it works. If you don't have confidence now, based on the fundamental considerations I outlined and the long-term opportunity that I think we can logically point to now, plus the short-term opportunity of like the carrot on the stick with the SPS, then what's going to bring you to a place where you're suddenly confident and you're going to put your money on the table? I don't buy it. And maybe some of you will, but you are the exceptions. Most who are not interested now won't be interested later. And here's the last and maybe the most scary point. If you're not interested now because of lack of confidence, I'm telling you, you will be interested later, but it's going to be when we're in the bull market. And it's going to be when we've already gone parabolic. And then you're going to start thinking to yourself, well, we've gone up 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, but we can go up more. Because that's always the energy of the people who will make these sorts of comments around. The opposite of Big Dog. Like, he's saying, I'm loading up now. I don't care if it goes lower, I'm dollar cost averaging in. But there's always people who say, I'll buy in later. You miss the bottom, you FOMO in, then you get put through the ringer, because when you buy at a high, it drips down lower, you panic, you sell, it pops back up, you buy high again, and repeat. And it's this washing machine, man, that'll just take everything you've got to give, unless you're building a foundation and like a bedrock, really, of like an investment portfolio that you believe in. Do you believe in this game or not? Do you think this game's fun and has a future or not? Because if you don't, great, don't invest in it. But if you do, now is the better time to invest than tomorrow. Even if tomorrow it ends up being $55 a plot, $50 a plot, $30 a plot, great. Those are more buying opportunities. That's how someone builds a bag and ultimately builds a future in a game like this that might ultimately retire you, because these assets literally can do that, in my opinion. And that's where I'm aiming, based on the confidence and the joy I get out of this game, and I see in this opportunity. So I'm going to leave it there, but thank you to Big Dog. I definitely agree. I like what you said there about not really caring about the continuity. I'm going to try and think about it that way now moving forward. I'm going to continue. I bought some cheap plots yesterday again, and I'm going to keep doing that until I run out of DAC. And there'll be some times where there'll come a time where I'll sell something, but it'll only be to move into something else within this game, because frankly, I think the craziest opportunity is still in front of us, and I want more of that risk, more of that opportunity, not less of it. Thanks, Big Dog. You're gonna get a raffle ticket for that free plot of land out of this one. And guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm giving away a plot of land. If you leave a comment that turns into a video, I will give you a raffle ticket, and you can be the possible winner. Two other things, ways you can support this channel. One, check out the membership page, get involved at whatever level you want. Then you'll be invited to member-only lives that happen weekly. Or two, check out the Amazon affiliate links in the description. If you shop through those links, even if you don't buy the things I'm enjoying and recommending there, you still will give me some sort of proportion based on an affiliate payout from Amazon. It has nothing to do with you. You don't actually pay me anything directly. They pay me something. So check that out if you want to support the channel and the content I'm creating. And just thank you guys. Have an amazing day. God bless.